excited about how this is going to turn out, what it means for the future for not only inertial electric, but for Alliant and for HoChunk and a lot of our other partners in working on this whole project.
I'm Warren Savoy, Technical Training Manager for North America for ABB. My background is I'm an electrical engineer, but I have a lot of mechanical background. I've been in and out the oil field, hardware, software design. The gentleman from Inertial Electric came to my class when I was holding classes in Richmond, Virginia, almost 2 years ago. And they stood out. Most of the time, people are intimidated to come to some of these classes. But each one approached me at a different level with questions. How are we going to do this? How is this going to happen? How is ABB going to help us? I've been speaking with Jim and Lee since then, and they had a project, and I felt compelled because I knew them and they were my friends to help them and make sure the roadblocks were smoothed over.
What we're doing here is there's a long island, about 50 feet long, and in the middle of that island where the unit's going to be sitting, we're going to have a walkway. If somebody comes up with a wheelchair, they're able to access the front of the charging unit to be able to initiate a charge session.
So what happens when you order an ABB charger? You've already spoken with your salesperson, he lines up and you decide on what size charger you're going to have. And in this case, it was a Terra 184. Once you know that, then we have power requirements. So the power requirements are worked out, and the customer has to get the switchgear and circuitry and cables all pulled to the pads or sites where the charger is going to be mounted. So that's all pre-engineering work that has to be done. Once that's all completed, the charger comes in, they hang it and set it on the concrete pad it's going to sit on with its anchor bolts.
The unit has officially been set. We're securing all the necessary ground connections to the plate on the bottom. Just getting all the nuts and bolts tight, and then we'll be moving on to the next unit further south.
The cables are run and are installed according to ABB's installation manual. They're tightened up, and then the connections are tested, and then we power it. So when it powered, it was absolutely beautiful. Everything worked 100%. So then what has to happen is the customer has to go back to ABB and say, my charger's installed, now we need to update the software. They schedule a date. Software was downloaded, charger was brought up, the consultant or the customer service specialist looked at the charger after everything loaded, did some checks, everything's fine. Jim hooked up his Kia Niro and it charged beautifully. And on the back side, the customer support specialist is watching all the logs. Constant voltage, constant current, state of charge of the battery. They're monitoring this to make sure there's no abnormalities. And then they say, okay, you're done. Once you're done, unhook. Jim did all of that, everything worked. And that's when they bless the system off. We're done, and now you can get your financial reader on there, your credit card reader, and we're good to go.